Welcome to the Ultimate Masterclass Explainer. I am your master coach, and today we are doing something highly strategic and honestly, absolutely essential if you want to dominate this exam. We are going to completely decode the hidden language of Cambridge examiners for what is notoriously one of the most brutal, challenging areas in the entire syllabus. I am talking about the Cambridge AS Level Afrikaans Language 8679 topic of philosophy and belief, specifically focusing on values, morality, and religious practices. Listen, if you have ever walked out of an exam room feeling like you just wrote an absolute masterpiece of an essay, only to get your results back weeks later and literally wonder where all your marks went, you are in the exactly right place. This explainer is a full, high-stakes tactical breakdown. We are not just reviewing content today. We are going to look through the exact lens the examiner uses when they are grading your paper. We are going to dissect exactly how to capture those elusive, top-tier marks and leave nothing to chance.
Okay, let's dive into our rigorous structural blueprint for today. First, unlocking the examiner's mind. Second, the 3 cognitive domains. Third, our systematic problem-solving framework. Fourth, the top 3 examiner warnings. And finally, deconstruct, solve, and evaluate.
I really want you to let this quote sink in for a second. This is not just my opinion. This is insider intelligence pulled directly from the principal examiner reports. Every single year, the examiners report that the philosophy and belief topic is massively misunderstood. So why does this happen? It happens because students fundamentally struggle to connect dense philosophical theory with the specific, nuanced parameters of the Afrikaans language syllabus. There is a massive, grade-defining gap between what you, the candidate, think you are supposed to do in that high-pressure exam room and what the examiners actually want to see written on the page. Students are literally bleeding easy marks because they are misinterpreting the core objectives of this specific module. They are fighting the wrong battle. Well, we are going to fix that right now.
Section 1. Unlocking the examiner's mind.
I want you to imagine you are sitting right there in the exam hall. The clock is ticking, and you are faced with a complex, high-tariff question. We're talking about something worth 9 to 15 marks. The prompt asks you to, say, analyze a modern moral dilemma through the lens of traditional religious practices. What is the hidden constraint of that prompt? Top-performing students do not just read the topic, they deeply, obsessively analyze the command words. The word explain requires crystal clarity and a step-by-step process. But a phrase like, to what extent, completely shifts the game. It demands a critical evaluation of limits, boundaries, and actively weighing opposing viewpoints. To really understand this dynamic, I want to introduce you to 2 archetypal scholars I work with all the time. Let's call them Alex and Sam. Now, Alex is highly technical. Alex excels at memorizing formulas, historical dates, and hard facts. So when Alex sees a question on philosophy and belief, they deliver what I call superficial breadth. They just list every single fact they know in Afrikaans for 5 pages straight, hoping something sticks. Sam, on the other hand, is our creative thinker. Sam is strong at building broad, sweeping arguments, but really struggles with structural precision and timing. Sam delivers beautiful conceptual ideas, but completely ignores the specific parameters and constraints of the question asked. Here's the brittle truth. Cambridge academic benchmarks demand logical, structured reasoning. Neither Alex's factual data dumping nor Sam's unstructured, floating philosophical thoughts will unlock those top marking bands. You need a fusion of both.
Section 2. The 3 cognitive domains. To actually hit those top-tier marks, you need to understand exactly how the assessment objectives are layered by the exam board. You must master distinct assessment objectives, transitioning smoothly from lower-tier foundational knowledge to higher-order critical skills. Think of this as a 3-tier ladder you have to climb. At the very bottom, the first domain, we have knowledge and understanding. In Cambridge terms, this is Assessment Objective 1, or AO1. This is Alex's absolute comfort zone. It is identifying the core principles of morality and religious practices. But you cannot stop there. If you stop there, your grade caps out very early. You must climb to the second domain, analysis, which is AO2. This is where you select a specific analytical framework, extract relevant data from the prompt, and show clear logical workings. Finally, we reach the summit, the third domain, evaluation, or AO3. This is the promised land of top marks. This is where you are actively questioning underlying assumptions, comparing completely different philosophical approaches, and making heavily justified recommendations. You have to systematically walk the examiner through this exact cognitive progression in your essays. You show them you know it, you analyze it, and then you evaluate it. Which brings us perfectly to an absolutely critical definition for the syllabus. You need to burn this into your brain. Connected conceptual understanding. What does that actually mean? It is the ability to transfer fundamental principles and logical reasoning to completely unfamiliar modern contexts. Let's imagine our two scholars again, sitting in a digital study suite arguing over a practice paper. I can just hear Alex saying, "But coach, I spent weeks memorizing all the core religious values from the textbook, I know them perfectly." And then Sam immediately chimes in, "Yeah, Alex, but how does any of that apply to the totally unseen stimulus text the examiner just handed us?" And Sam hits the nail on the head right there. Rote memorization is just not enough at this level. You must apply those concepts dynamically. You have to be able to build a bridge between the textbook theory you studied at home and the totally unseen data sitting in front of you on exam day.
Section 3, Systematic Problem-Solving Framework.
Okay, let's get into the absolute game changer of this entire masterclass. I call this the method mark strategy. This is the secret weapon because this is where Cambridge actually awards you marks for the analytical process itself, even if your final conclusion has a few flaws. Here is your rigorous 5-step standardized procedural framework. Step 1. Identify the key elements from the stimulus text. What are we actually looking at? Step 2. Apply the relevant philosophical principles. Bring in your AO1 knowledge. Step 3. Execute your analysis with clear, explicit workings. Do not make the examiner guess how you got from A to B. Show the logic. Step 4. Verify your results. Take a step back and ask, does this conclusion logically follow my premise? And finally, Step 5. Present your answer in the highly specific, appropriate format requested by the command word. Following this exact sequence guarantees that you scoop up maximum method marks along the way. Even if your ultimate evaluation misses the mark slightly at the end, the examiner sees your cognitive engine working beautifully on the page, and they reward you for that process.
Right before we tackle the hardest part of our problem-solving strategy, I need to pause our session for a quick second. Crushing Cambridge exams requires relentless, week-by-week strategy. So if you want to guarantee you are constantly upgrading your exam tactics, you need to hit that subscribe button for the channel Ace the Exam's IGCSE O and Hay levels at the handle at acetheexam_IGCS. Turn on all notifications, hit that bell so you never miss a single weekly breakthrough strategy. Okay, let's jump back in and look at a simulated roadblock. Imagine Alex and Sam are working collaboratively, drafting a model response paragraph by paragraph. They're looking at an unseen Afrikaans text excerpt about modern moral decay versus traditional community values, and suddenly they hit a massive wall. They are completely stuck. They cannot figure out how to link their beautifully written paragraph on traditional religious practices to the modern data table provided in the prompt. This is exactly where I step in. I tell them, you cannot just summarize the text. That is a trap. You must deploy critical data interpretation skills. You have to actively extract the data, interpret the hidden underlying relationships between those historical values and the modern data, and then draw evidence-based conclusions. If you just translate or copy the Afrikaans text back to the examiner, you get absolutely 0 analysis marks. You have to process the data, not just repeat it.
Section 4. Top 3 examiner warnings. It is time for a quick, immersive, pause and practice visual workshop. We are going to test your own examiner instincts right now. I want you to think about your own past mock exams, the ones that didn't go so well. Where do you honestly think the vast majority of candidates bleed points in the specific philosophy and belief module? Is it a lack of advanced Afrikaans vocabulary? Is it misunderstanding the complex philosophy? I am going to give you a mental 60-second countdown. Lock in your guess right now. What is the fatal flaw?
All right, time is up. And this brilliantly illustrates the harsh reality of the exam room. The top 3 examiner warnings from the principal examiner reports actually have almost nothing to do with complex philosophy. Number 1, forgetting to include the proper format. Number 2, failing to check presentation conventions, like using proper headings, paragraphs, and clear annotations. And number 3, the biggest one, providing generic answers that are not specifically anchored to the given context. Think about how tragic that is. You could write a beautiful, profound, highly accurate philosophical essay, but if you ignore the required letter or article format, or if you fail to tie your argument directly to the specific stimulus text given in that specific paper, you're literally throwing away crucial grade-defining marks. These are entirely unforced errors, and they are entirely preventable.
And that leads directly into a strict, non-negotiable examiner alert. You must define your terms. The official reports explicitly note that candidates consistently confuse key terminology related to values and morality. Remember Sam, our conceptual thinker? Sam loves to throw around massive, multi-syllable philosophical vocabulary words just to sound impressive to the examiner. But using complex terminology, like referencing the concept of Ubuntu, referring to interconnected humanity, or bringing in highly specific Afrikaans moral terminology without first explicitly defining what that means in the exact context of your essay, actually damages your evaluative level. It doesn't look smart, it looks like you are guessing. It looks like you memorized a list of big words, but have no idea how they function. Always explicitly define the term clearly first, and then apply it to your argument.
Section 5. Deconstruct, solve, and evaluate.
Let's pull everything together and synthesize this entire masterclass into a highly actionable, real-time checklist that you can take directly into the exam room. We are distilling everything we've talked about into 3 powerful, memorable pillars that you can deploy the very second you sit down at your desk. This is the ultimate strategy loop for tackling the absolute hardest open-ended questions in the entire 8690 syllabus. Step 1. Deconstruct. The moment you read the prompt, rip it apart. Deconstruct the given information and the stimulus text. What are the hidden constraints? What is the exact command word demanding of you? Step 2. Solve. Build your argument systematically. Move in logical steps using your analytical framework. Do not jump straight to the conclusion. Show the math of your argument. And step 3. Evaluate. Step back from the essay you just built, check it for reasonableness, consider the alternative viewpoints, and finally, make a highly justified, rock-solid final recommendation. Deconstruct, solve, evaluate. That is your ultimate blueprint for success.
So, the crucial point we are driving at is this. How do you definitively prove to the examiner that you are a top-scoring candidate? You do it by utilizing the paragraph balance formula. You do it by actively questioning the underlying assumptions of the prompt itself. You do it by actively considering and debating completely different moral or religious perspectives within your essay, showing the examiner you understand the nuance of the debate. And most importantly, you justify every single decision, claim, or argument you make with solid, irrefutable evidence extracted directly from the stimulus material provided. You never make a claim without backing it up. These 3 traits are exactly what elevate a standard, average, run-of-the-mill analytical response into a flawless, full-mark evaluation that examiners love to read.
Now, let's look at one final, absolutely vital survival tactic. I have seen students, just like Alex and Sam, completely transform their final grades simply by mastering time management for this one specific thing, the last 5 minutes review checklist. Listen to me very carefully. Do not keep writing until the examiner yells, "Pens down." You need to force yourself to stop writing your essay 5 minutes early. Use those final 5 minutes exclusively to check your format, verify your presentation conventions, and ensure total, undeniable alignment with the specific context of the question. I promise you, those 5 minutes of structural precision and proofreading will save you far more marks than one extra hastily scribbled, panicked paragraph ever could. Control the clock. Do not let the clock control you.
I want to end our masterclass today with a powerful, provocative thought for you to take right into your next intense study session. Whenever you are writing a practice essay, I want you to stop, look at your paper, and ask yourself honestly, are you answering the question you want to answer because it's what you studied the night before, or are you answering the exact, specific question Cambridge actually asked? Crushing these exams is not just about knowing the material, it requires relentless, consistent strategy. Thank you so much for joining me in this masterclass. Remember, if you are serious about securing that top grade, hit subscribe on Ace the Exam's IGCSE O and A levels at @acetheexam_IGCSE right now. Turn on that notification bell for our future exam hacks and drop into the comments below and declare your target grade right now. Hold yourself accountable, keep grinding, keep thinking like an examiner, and I will see you in the next explainer.